Hi, it's Becky Anderson with Authors Revealed. Boy, do we have a delicious one for you this time. It's Carla Hall's Carla's Comfort Foods. Join me on Authors Revealed. Carla, welcome to Anderson's in Naperville. We are thrilled to have you here and can't wait to hear about some foods that are made with love. So congrats on the new cookbook.
Thank you so much. It's like a baby. I didn't even think I had one book in me, let alone two. And I'm so excited about this book.
Yeah, and it's been out, I think, exactly 3 weeks, right?
Something
like
April 1st. So
2 weeks. 2 weeks, yeah. But the book is absolutely gorgeous. I love the photography. I love the way it's organized, and we'll talk about that. But how does it feel? What are you hearing from your fans? They're fans of The Chew, but also fans, from Top Chef, all those kind of things. And also, what are you hearing from your co-hosts at the show about the book?
I hear that it's approachable and that the first thing that they think, it's colorful, so lots of pictures. I think in my first book, they're like, there are not enough pictures. And actually, there are just as many pictures, but these are cropped differently and put throughout the book. So we really utilized the photography, and then I hear people saying it makes me want to cook.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does. Because I think so many times that we, whether we're cooking at home or we come from a certain tradition that, and then when you go to certain restaurants, we go, oh, I wish this just had some more flavor.
Right.
This book to me just yells flavor.
Yeah. And it's supposed to. It's supposed to say to you, either you are learning something about another culture, or with the International Spice Chart, it is showing you how you can change a dish that you already know into something else based on spices or aromatics and fresh herbs.
Right. And I love that having that right in the beginning of the book, the chart with all that. That was so cool. So tell us about, for you, what comfort food means. What is, and I know you always talk about cooking with love, but what does comfort food mean to you, and where do the origins of that come for in your life?
I think, for me, comfort food are the foods that I had growing up that somebody who loved me made for me, and I have this emotional connection to that dish.
Right.
And whether it's like a grilled cheese or the Nutter Butters that I had in school in my little plastic bag, or the fried chicken that I would have at my grandma's Thelma's, and she would send me on the way, and she would, instead of putting my food in like a little baggie, which I thought was kind of high class, she would wrap it in wax paper, and I'm like, what? Granny, Grandma, why are you wrapping my chicken in wax paper? Yeah. But she had the best chicken, but it was that emotional connection to that dish. Yeah.
So this book to me is a way of connecting people more globally with flavors and all that connects, because we're all connected, because we all have to eat.
Yes,
right?
We all have to eat, and the idea or the inspiration for this book came from, believe it or not, the political climate and how the politicians are ostracizing each other and polarizing their differences.
Right.
And I said, and it's really uncomfortable to watch, this dysfunctional relationship.
Yeah, right.
And I said, how can I show through food that as people we're very similar, and our differences should honestly be celebrated and bring us together, and versus tearing us apart.
Right. If we would do the opposite, things we'd be in a much different situation.
Yeah, you don't have to look like me. You don't have to sound like me. You don't have to have the same religion, but I can learn something from you, and I can celebrate you.
That's right. So, a recipe from your grandma. This is your grandma Thelma, you mentioned.
Yes.
Okay. So, chicken with milk gravy, right?
Yes. Oh, that would be Freddie Mae. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But you have that in the book. The recipe's in the book, but then you have another recipe from a Hungarian tradition, right?
So
and of course, paprika.
Paprika. So this is my whole idea that as people we're very similar. So if I take any kind of smothered dish in the South, it's a milk gravy.
Right.
You get those pan drippings, you add some milk, you make a little white gravy. But if you take the milk out and you add sour cream and paprika, you could be in Hungary. Or if you take the milk out and you add tomatoes and habanero peppers, you could be in West Africa. Take the milk out and add heavy cream, Dijon mustard, white wine, and tarragon, you could be in France. But at the end of the day, they're all smothered chicken dishes.
Yeah.
You know?
But we're all trying to think of different ways to make, say, chicken.
Yes.
But also how to take the world and bring it home.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, It's stepping outside of your box and saying, what are they doing over there in Hungary? Right now, in this very moment, maybe not, or today, in the 6 hours, somebody could have been making that very dish.
Right.
And it's kind of putting you into their world and, you know, and just bringing the outside in.
Yeah. And the spice chart, I think, is so cool because you take it and you show the different types of, you know, food around the world and what spices are used in that type of cooking.
Right.
So what do you suggest to people using this book, but also in the way they think about cooking? How do you approach spices and aromatics and that sort of thing and rubs and all that to make food taste more flavorful and spice it up?
And right.
So what is the best advice to give people about buying and storing, but trying it on their own too?
I think first of all, I think people are afraid of spice. I think they're afraid of using too much and ruining a dish. But when I look at the spice chart, one thing that I wanted to do was to make it approachable. So all of those different spices, and you see how many different cuisines cinnamon is a part of. So you know them.
Right.
You know coriander and cinnamon, and I used the spices that people know versus specialty spices that you have to go to an international spice mart. So it's the combination, the way that I put them together that maybe you don't know.
Yeah.
And I listed the ones that, let's say that maybe cayenne would be at the bottom, cinnamon would be at the top, so that when you're getting ready to do a spice rub or a combination, you're going to have more of the one at the top and less of the one at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, this international spice chart is so that you can create a pantry. Because if you like a particular cuisine, so you look at the aromatics, you look at the fresh herbs, you look at the spices, you look at whatever miscellaneous ingredients there are, and you create a pantry so that in the middle of the week when you want to throw something together, you already have this stuff. Yeah. And I know on the Chew we talk about, you know, go to your pantry, and people will say, well, I don't have that in my pantry. Well, if this is the kind of food you make all the time, if you make Mexican food all the time, then have tortillas, have tomatoes, have cumin, have these things where you can throw this together.
Yeah. So you grew up in Tennessee,
Nashville.
Nashville. Okay. So, and you mentioned that you talk about this in the book and some of the food that you grew up with in that. So what were some of your favorites and what have you featured in the book that comes from that tradition that you grew up with?
So definitely the smothered chicken. So love that. And it could be smothered pork chop, smothered chicken, you know, we don't smother fish, but you could take that same recipe, add sausage, and that's your sausage gravy, and you can have it over a biscuit. The peach cobbler, my grandmother always had the peach cobbler, and I've been to places and I make sure that people make this dish correctly, because you cook the peaches enough to where the juice caramelizes and it becomes kind of thick, and it makes this dumpling. And I put cooked dough on the bottom, not raw dough, because one of my pet peeves is raw dough. And that cooked dough becomes a dumpling as it cooks, and then the top is crispy, crusty with sugar on top.
I'm drooling.
Yeah,
right. No, it's just that just some of the recipes in there. I can't wait to try some of these.
Oh, the chicken and dumplings. That's my Aunt Minnie's recipe, or my version of her recipe, and that is simply a chicken stew with biscuit dough. That you just, a loose biscuit dough that you cook in the broth. Right. That's all it is.
Wow. So over 130 recipes, you know, in this book. And what amazed me, they're so accessible. There's something that I can do at home. So many times you'll buy a cookbook that you think, you know, it looks gorgeous. You've seen the chef or whatever, and you find out that there are ingredients that are hard to find.
Right. You have to take some pine needles out of your yard and smoke them for this chicken.
Right.
I know.
Right. And that's what was so just absolutely delicious, scrumptious stuff that's easily made. So when you started to put this together and write it, what is it like instead of when you have to sit down and actually figure out the measurements for everything, and sitting with someone else and figuring out the writing of the book? How long did it take you? And this process of doing a cookbook, people don't realize all that goes into this.
Right.
You know?
It's really hard work. Genevieve Coe is an amazing, not only cook and technician in the kitchen, but also a writer, and she understands my voice. And this is the second book that we've been working with. So we basically have been together for about 2.5 years. It takes about a year. I wanted to make sure that I did the recipes in the season, so I can get, you know, corn and tomatoes in the season, and then the fall vegetables. But this is how I approach it. So Genevieve is there with her pad, and initially I would throw things in because I wanted to have that creative flow. You know, I'm a chef and I want to have that flow. Yeah. But she's like, wait, what did you just put in there? I'm like, oh no,
see, that's it, because you think so organically, and you're just doing it instead of thinking about, okay, how can I let someone else who's can
and
make this at home?
that.
Right.
So what I did, I said, okay, this is not working. So what I decided to do, thinking catering and thinking portions. So I would set up little portion cups of 1 tablespoon of olive oil, all of the ingredients that I thought I might use. Then I would set up half teaspoons of salt. Whatever the spice is, I would put 1/4 teaspoons of all this, and pepper, and all of my spices would be out. So when I'm creating, I'm grabbing these cups, and then I go back and count the ones that I used.
Ah, okay.
So I still am in that flow, and I'm not stopping, and because that's so hard.
That would be really, really hard. Yeah. But I love the photography in this book, because sometimes you want to see a really great picture of what you're making. Go, hey, I came close. This looks really good.
Well, Frances Janish is the photographer.
Yeah, I thought it was beautiful stuff.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah. And the thing is that people may not realize it is not over stylized. We could actually eat that food for lunch.
Yeah, see, because food stylists will make something that is not edible.
Yeah, no, it was everything was cooked and it was edible, and we ate it for lunch, and we were like, aren't we doing that paprika chicken?
Yeah. So what are your favorite recipes out of the book? Tell us.
The callaloo is one of my favorites. It's in the spinach section. Yeah. So I start with cream spinach, which is American. And this is another approach that I did. I took a lot of my favorite vegetables. And if there was an American version, I said, okay, how is this ingredient used around the world? So cream spinach, I do a palak paneer, and I actually teach people how to make the paneer, which is so much easier than you think. And then the callaloo. Oh, the callaloo. So, people know callaloo is a green, and instead of the callaloo, I use spinach. And there is crab and coconut milk and okra. And instead of saltfish, because I don't like that strong, funky taste, I use a smoky bacon, and then king crab, so the sweet crab, and together that makes a palatable, what I think for the American palate. It's not kind of crazy out there. Yeah. But I refine it a little bit. So I put the spinach in at the last minute so that it's green. If a soup is, if it uses a green vegetable, I want it to be green. You know, except for my cooked to death green beans. But when I tasted it with Genevieve, and we're snapping a picture and we tasted it, I'm like, oh, this is so good. It really is good, and you feel like you're traveling, yet it's this refined soup. And I really like my soups pureed. I like them just smooth because I like that texture and feel on my tongue.
Yeah. Well, I love the vegetable recipes in this, which there's so many great ones in here, and the corn ones too. The corn ones. But it's just so great to make a meatless meal.
A meatless meal for Meatless Mondays. You can actually take this book to the market, and if it's corn season, you have, the corn section, you have corn desserts. There's so many things that you can do and not get tired.
Yeah. So what would you say would be your earliest memory of thinking of, I want to do this. I have this love for food, bringing friends and family and all this love together. What was that first moment that you said, you know what, I think I'm going to change what I'm doing and do something.
I think I'm going to surprise you with the answer because, the first dish that I made was spaghetti and an apple crisp, and I was 12, and I did that for a Girl Scout badge. That was the only reason I cooked for that Girl Scout badge. All right. But when I said I really like this, I'm going to cook for somebody, I was 24. I started a lunch delivery service as a fluke at 25. I did that for 5 years, and I went to culinary school at 30.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a career changer.
Yeah. And wow, we're glad you changed careers, believe me. So I read that you have, and you majored, you're a CPA.
Yeah.
You majored in accounting.
My mother has that certificate to prove that she paid for my college.
So you tried that for a couple of years, right? So, and then went on to be a model.
I went on to be a model.
Europe,
and the modeling was a bridge between what I knew I didn't want to do and what I eventually wanted to do, and I didn't know what that was. And for me, there is power in the yes, and I was up for trying any and everything. And so it was in Paris, watching people cook in the kitchen, that I was like, oh wow, this is what happens. Because before that, I didn't care how the food got to the table. I just came to eat the food that was on the table because I love to eat. But then when I was in Paris, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And I like numbers from accounting.
Right, I was wondering.
But I like puzzles. So I love puzzles. I love mysteries. I love psychological thrillers. So to watch the food come together, for me, it was like a puzzle. Yeah. So recipes are like a puzzle. And that's the part that I liked about it. And then all of a sudden you get this feedback from somebody who eats your puzzle, and they give you feedback. You're like, oh, I want to do another puzzle. You know?
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Because I was wondering how modeling brought you to see cooking in a different way. But then also your accounting background, and just wondered if some of the numbers, and that makes total sense.
But I also like art, and I draw. So for me, food is like texture. Sure. And the plate is the palette, and colors and textures, and so I think it all comes together. Chefs are artists.
Yeah. You know what, I read, culinary school you mentioned, and being a sous chef in the catering business and all, an executive chef. We had Julia Child here years ago, and she had mentioned that she thought the best way to learn was out in the field, to be there, doing it, and that's how you're going to learn.
Absolutely.
So how did all those experiences take you to where you are, to Top Chef and all that kind of stuff, and then to Chew, and then everything you're doing in your own company? How did all those experiences make you learn in the field to take you where you are now?
I think that, I had a lunch delivery service for 5 years, and then I went to culinary school. So I had that experience, and then I feel like I went to culinary school to get the theory that supports the experience.
Right, sure.
But that's all it does. It's the theory. And so it's when you're working in restaurants and you're learning something, you're learning a quick way, or you're really learning about your palate, and you're learning what other people like, and you're learning how to take what they say they want, and you're hearing it and you're interpreting it through your hands and through your dishes, and then pushing it back out to them. I think as a chef or a cook, you're constantly learning. And if you keep that in mind, everybody is an inspiration, or they're giving you something that will enhance what you already do, and it's constantly building.
Yeah, sure.
It's like Jenga. You take a brick from here from somebody else, and you put it on top, and you build something. You take it here, and then it all comes crashing down in that bad dish. Then you put it back together again.
But you do it your way, though.
Exactly. But that's what I am doing in this book. I'm asking people to do it their way, and I remind them, if you like it spicier, do this. If you don't like this, do this. Because sometimes people forget that a recipe is just a guide. They forget, they think that you are dictating to them what to do, and I want to remind them, I share recipes because I want you to have your version of it.
Right. So your experiences on Top Shelf and All-Star, Top Chefs, how did that influence your career and where you went from there?
I think that, and I didn't realize it at the time, I left Top Chef and people were saying, oh, you're the Southern cook. Oh, you're the one who bakes. Yeah. And I didn't really think of myself that way. Sure. And I think the fans actually helped me define myself and to kind of shape who I am as a chef, because I made food that I wanted to have. Yeah. And I also made food I realized that I wanted to share with people, that I wanted to sit down and eat with them. Sure. And then I baked because I feel relaxed. It's like my casual Friday.
Okay.
That's how I relax. I'm like, oh gosh, I need some sugar. Let me just make a pie, and they helped shape me. And I remember my husband saying, you're not just a Southern chef. I'm like, well, hold on. I am, and I love that. I love doing comfort food. So I am so thankful for the fans, and I responded to that with my career. Yeah.
So tell me where Hootie Hoo came from.
So Hootie Hoo is a two-part call with my husband. So we just to find each other. Like, right now he would be somewhere else. He's like, Hootie. And I'm like, who?
Oh,
just to find each other. But now it's, instead of HOO, it's WHO, because people will do it, and I don't know who is saying it and where they are.
So here you go.
Like,
who? Question mark. Yeah,
question mark.
Right. So the Chew, and it has such a following.
Yeah.
What do you think sets that daytime show off from other lifestyle and cooking shows and anything that's on television?
I think, and I'm going to go back to Barbara Walters, who was brilliant to start The View. 5 co-hosts, 5 different perspectives. Right. And of course, our show is kind of like a spoof of The View,
sure.
The Chew.
Yeah.
You know, when it first started, I would tell people it's like The View but with food. The Chew, chew. So I think there is power in having 5 different people with 5 different perspectives, because what it tells the viewer, if I'm cooking and there are 5 perspectives here, if you have a 6th way of doing something, then it's probably right and it's okay for you.
Right.
And I think we're reminding people that we do have fun in the kitchen and we don't take ourselves so seriously. And we get so many people saying, I remember to have fun in the kitchen again, and I'm cooking again, or I've started cooking because you all have so much fun. And they see us mess up, but they see us recover, and they're like, and they see us laugh it off.
Yeah, right.
And it takes the pressure off, I think,
Sure.
as someone who's cooking at home, and I think that's why it's successful.
Right.
And we like each other.
Well, see, that's what I was wondering. You know, when you have these 5 different personalities, and especially when you have there's 3 master chefs. You know,
right.
you and Mario Batali.
Well, there are 2 Iron Chefs, and then there's me, and then there's Clinton. And,
well, yeah, I know, but this dynamic,
Daphne.
you know, it never feels like you're in competition. That you guys are all just enjoying each other's company so much. So what we're seeing is really true.
It's really real. We really like each other, and I cannot wait for Daphne to come back next week, and we're so excited for her. And that was true emotion when she announced that she was pregnant, and you know, I'm getting teary, and Mario's trying to hold back the tears.
Oh. But true friends.
Really we're really friends, and we're friends with each other's spouses, and
that's very cool. So tell us about your company, Alchemy, and your petite bites of love, because you always talk about love, which I love about this, and I think that's the way everybody should think about food, and when you gather with friends and family, that it really is about love. So tell us about your company and what you do.
So I love the name Alchemy. It's the name of my cat, and there's a whole story about that. So people are confused about that name, you know, and like, what is alchemy, you know? And so my tagline with my catering company was changing the way you experience food. It was supposed to be a healing. So I've changed it to Carla Petite Cookies, so people aren't confused. But our cookies are the size of sugar cubes. And this is probably the only thing that's left of my catering company that I had for years. And sweet and savory. And honestly, it's so that you can have a little bite. You can have a buffet of cookies without commitment to a particular cookie.
No, but I saw. They look so delicious. I'm ordering some online. They look absolutely fantastic.
Yes, if you go on and carlahall.com, so you can all the pictures, and we do granola, which a lot of people don't know. We don't push it, but it's really delicious.
Okay. So what's next up in your kitchen, or any ideas for further cookbooks or anything like that? Can you anything? That you can tell us about ideas there?
I have ideas. I have an idea about my next cookbook, which will be baking. I'm going to do a desserts cookbook, and I want to make it about desserts being accessible. And I have an idea to make you want to make desserts, and I think it's going to be very easy. And I'm excited. And Genevieve is like, when are we getting in the kitchen?
Yeah,
you know,
right. Oh, that's very, very cool. So I end these interviews with a little quiz, and you know all the answers. So this is very easy. So some of it'll be food or book related. Okay. Do you remember a favorite book when you were young that you loved to read?
Yes, The Missing Piece.
Oh.
And where the wild things are.
Okay. Okay. Do you have a favorite TV chef of all time?
TV chef.
Anybody that you've watched or anything over the years, or even somebody who's on there now. I know you can say your co-host. You know.
But you know what's so funny? I don't watch food TV.
Oh, okay.
I watch HGTV.
Okay.
Because I cook for a living. It's like going home and. But let me think.
Right.
Who would my favorite be? Oh, Ina Garten, the Barefoot Contessa. Oh, don't you? She is like
she's
a warm
very cool.
blanket. And when I met her, I'm like, I'm like,
so
it's like
you are a super fan of something.
I am. It's like, hi, Kevin. It was like, hi, Ina. I love her. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry.
Okay, no, that's good. Okay, and I know you live in the D.C. area. You live in D.C. So, what is your favorite restaurant in that you like to go out?
You know, it's hard. D.C. is one of the fastest growing I know this is not supposed to be a long answer. It's one of the fastest growing restaurant cities in the country.
Yeah.
200 restaurants opened in 2013
Wow.
alone.
Wow, that's
so
huge.
I apologize for all the ones that I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But 8407 is the place where my husband and I go, and it's actually outside. It's in Silver Spring.
Silver Spring.
We go there a lot.
Yeah. Okay. And a favorite dish that Mario Batali makes or Michael Simon? Somebody that they've made. Any dishes that you absolutely love that they make?
Mario, oh my God. He made this just simple, his pasta carbonara is awesome, but he also did these olive oil mashed potatoes where honestly he used a half a bottle of olive oil and smashed garlic and
ooh.
they're
Okay.
so good.
Okay.
Oh my God. Michael's moussaka, and I stole it from he had some to take with his wife and I didn't realize and I stole it.
Okay.
I love it that much.
Okay, how about a favorite food that when you're with your family that you love to cook them?
It has to be one of the dishes that we make for the holidays, and it's the greens, like the southern collard greens and cornbread. That's like one of my favorites that we have to have.
Okay. And how about a favorite book that has to do with food? Maybe a favorite cookbook that you refer to, or just a book that talks about food. It could be even a piece of literature that mentions food a lot. Is there anything that stands out?
One of my favorite books that has to do with food is Shirley Corriher, Cookwise.
Oh, yeah.
She does Bakewise. I love her, and I remember that was the book that I used when I was catering, and I would go back to because she teaches you how to create and the science of it, and she's a Southern girl. Okay. And I love, again, it's that puzzle.
Yeah, right.
So I love her books.
Okay. And what would you call a guilty pleasure read, if anything can be guilty? It could be anything.
I love a good psychological thriller.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not guilty, but we'll take it. We'll take it. That's okay.
But you mean like 50 Shades of Grey?
Oh, no, anything. Anything. Well, no, I don't think you'd be reading that. Okay. And what would you be an evangelist for? A book that you could not tell enough people that they had to read? Anything you've read your whole life?
The Flavor Bible.
Okay.
If you're staying at the Flavor Bible, and it's the one that I tell people you have got to get it. Oh, and the other one is Oneness. There's another book, Spiritual. Oh my God, I can go on.
I know we can sit here for a long time.
Eckhart Tolle's Awaken to a New Earth.
Oh, okay. And then what are you reading now? Anything you're reading now or something you've read recently that you loved? Right
now I am reading, what am I carrying with me? I'm reading Jane Stern's book. Jane Stern Road Food. So the 9th edition just came out, so I have that one. But she did a book on tarot cards.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, very good. Well, hey, 100%. Alex Trebek would be so proud of you. So. Well, Carla, thank you so much, and congratulations on Carla's Comfort Foods.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to cook this for everyone we love. So
thank you
so much.
Thank you.